How can you create more self-care space for yourself as a parent? I know this is a really difficult question sometimes because it is not easy to carve out time as a parent besides work and obviously taking care of your children, taking care of your family, taking care of your partner. Where is that time and space to take care of yourself? So in today's video, I want to help you strategize a little bit about a couple of different things that you can do and start to implement into your day-to-day in order to make sure that you are creating self-care space for yourself, recharge your own batteries, and show up as your best self. So I would say, let's get started. Hi, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Julia Arndt and I'm a peak performance coach and stress management trainer. And I'm super excited that you are here today because today I'm going to give you a couple of really important strategies on how you can start creating some self-care space for yourself as a parent. I know it's not always easy. I know, in fact, it is very difficult to create self-care space for yourself because there are so many things going on in your life. However, you have made the experience that not investing time in yourself is also not the answer. So let's talk about the first strategy that you need to implement into your life in order to create that space for yourself. And it is make a plan. It is absolutely necessary and important, especially as a parent, that you have a plan in place on how you create little spaces for self-care every single day. And if you are curious to learn actually more about this, and if you are curious to learn more about strategies that have helped my working parent clients succeed in their lives, make sure to check out this podcast episode, because in this podcast episode I am particularly talking about all of the different tools and strategies that you need to integrate in order to manage your stress as a working parent. And the one thing that I share in that video as well that is the same as this video today is to make a plan. The most successful parents that I have been working with are the people that have a pretty decent plan that they're sticking to. Because it is not always easy, obviously, to create those self-care spaces for yourself. So you need to create a plan, and at the same time, you need to be flexible. And the second strategy that I have for you is to create parent self-care times. So obviously, besides having a plan, it is also important that you're having a conversation with your partner that you need a little bit of space for yourself. And obviously, by creating space for yourself, you also offer to have that space for your partner as well. So let's say, for example, you need an hour twice a week in order to practice self-care. Offer that same space and time back to your partner as well. Obviously, they need the same thing as well. And obviously, you don't always need to be a whole family in order to watch your child. It is really, really important that each of you gets a little bit of space to reflect, to relax, to recharge, and just be with yourself. So once you have done that, once you have a plan in place and you've had this conversation with your partner, make sure that you are getting intentional about what you want to do. Oftentimes, I have these conversations with my parent clients and they tell me, in the past, I would go to CrossFit 3 times a week, but I don't have the time and the space anymore to do that, or the energy, or the body, and I don't know what else to do. So it is really important that you are actually sitting down and you are brainstorming some ideas of what you like to do in order to recharge on a regular basis. Maybe it is not the 3 times CrossFit exercise anymore that you want to do. Maybe it is smaller things. Maybe it is at-home things or things outside of your home that you want to do in order to take care of yourself. And sometimes you need to create some space to just even reflect on that question. So use this video today, use this right now to grab a piece of paper and a pen and sit down and reflect. What do I actually like to do? What is it that brings me joy? What is it that makes you feel more recharged and happy and connected with yourself? So now that you have a plan in place, you've talked to your partner, you know what you like to do, think about some really easy things that you can do inside of your home, and also think about some things that you can do outside of your home. I think sometimes it's important, especially when you have to be flexible, maybe your child is sick, to have some go-to things that you can do in the moment at home, like for example a 10-minute workout video on YouTube or a 10-minute meditation, things that you have access to and that can not be your excuse anymore to not take care of yourself, right? Because I absolutely know that that is the case, and that's what's happening if you're not taking care of yourself. And then I think it is also really important to sometimes leave your environment, to leave your space, and to just have kind of a wall change, right? To leave your house that you may be spending a lot of time at and to go outside in nature, to go to a coffee shop, to go to a workout class or to a yoga class or to connect with some friends. Make sure that you're planning that, and when you will have that list already in front of you of brainstorming options, you can check that list and see, are there things that I can do inside of my home and other things that I can do outside of my home. The next strategy that I have for you that's important is to check in with your mindset and your mental habit of how you have been taking care of yourself in the past and how you're obviously taking care of yourself today as a parent. Because there are obviously big shifts that are happening, and sometimes we need to have that check with ourselves in order to say, okay, it is different now, and it is totally okay that it is different now. Maybe sometimes you are unhappy about it and you wish you would have your old life back, and you don't need to feel guilty about that, because that's an absolutely normal feeling that every parent has had at one point or the other. But it is just requiring a little bit more planning and reflection on, okay, what am I going to do now in order to take care of myself? What do I still enjoy doing? What do I need in order to show up as my best self? I actually just thought of a client as I'm talking about this, who I worked with. She has 2 little kids. I think they were 1 and 3 years old at the time when I coached her, and she told me that she really loved painting and that she didn't have time to paint for a really long period of time, and that she kind of lost track of that habit and that hobby and that passion of hers because of the family. And she got really sad about that when she told me about it, because she said, I can't believe that I haven't painted in so many years because I just always loved it so much. So one of her actions that she had to take after our first coaching session was to find an space, an intentional space for herself where she could paint in peace. And she did. She found a little room, a little space that she could rent, and she started painting there on a regular basis. And on a regular basis doesn't mean 3 times a week, it means sometimes once a month, and that is more than she did before, right? Because before she didn't paint at all for years. And so she came back to me after a couple of months after she started integrating that habit into her life, and she said, wow, it made all the difference. And she shared with me images and pictures and paintings of the things that she painted in her little gallery. And she also mentioned to me that sometimes her partner went into that little place, of that little sanctuary almost, where he spent some time with himself. And I thought it was so beautiful and so cool, because we basically created a space for both of them to retract and come out better than before. So that brought me a little bit off track, but another strategy that I do want to share that is kind of related to this story is find something that makes you excited. Again, check your list. Hopefully you have started to write a list of things, and make sure that you check that list and ask yourself the question, do these things make me excited, or are there things on there that are kind of should do's and must do's, but not really good feel do's kind of a thing, right? So make sure that you find something that really excites you, because as you know, self-care is sometimes difficult. And if you are not feeling very excited about the thing that you're going to do for yourself, well, then it's going to be really hard to carve out that time because you're not really excited about it. So make sure that you do. Another strategy that I have for you that I really love, and it is something that another client of mine shared with me, is to take a work day off during the week in order to practice self-care. Sometimes that's all you need to do. Obviously, you can't do that on a regular basis, but it is something that you can do if you feel like I really need some time for myself, okay? So make sure that sometimes you do use these strategies as well in order to create some intentional space for yourself and recharge your batteries. One thing that is important to mention in order to stay consistent with these new self-care goals is to track your progress. I think tracking progress is really important because it honestly is a really nice motivation in order to kind of find momentum again and get going again, because I know sometimes it's really hard to find that momentum, and it is sometimes necessary to force yourself to get started because it is not part of your routine and your habits anymore to do it in the first place. So tracking progress can be super motivational, and there's a couple of different ways that I like to do and that my clients like to do. Like, for example, tracking your progress with an app. When I go for runs, for example, I always track it on Strava. There's no advertising here, but Strava is the app that I'm using, and I like to track it. And I actually also like to share my Strava with my Instagram followers because it just kind of keeps me accountable to my own goals. Another way that I have found super helpful is to track it on kind of a calendar. So print out a really easy calendar overview and just cross out the days that you have made progress on your goals. Tracking progress is so important, and I find it so motivational to see, hey, instead of not doing any exercise this month, maybe I've done at least 5 times, right? And maybe in the grand scheme of things, you would like to do something every single day or maybe 3 times a week, but in order to get there, you need to start somewhere. And so track your progress and make sure that you're celebrating small wins. And that brings me to the last strategy that I have for you today in order to create some more self-care space for yourself. And it is to stay flexible and be fluid with those plans that you have. Because I know the biggest challenge, and I kind of started with that and I'm going to end with that in this video today, I know that the biggest challenge obviously as a parent is to find flexibility, because oftentimes plans are out of the window because the child is getting sick or anything else is coming in the way of actually sticking to your goals. Don't get frustrated about that. Everybody, again, is experiencing the same thing. So that is the reason why it is so important for you to have small, achievable things, and small things that you can even do from your home if your child is sick. I hope you found one or the other idea that I shared with you in today's video helpful. Let me know which one of those ideas resonated with you the most in the comments down below, because I am super curious to have a conversation with you and to understand what is helping, what is resonating, what are you still challenged with, and how can I help you become a better version of yourself. Thank you so much for watching today. I hope to see you in the next video. Until then, take care of yourself and see you soon.